What if one of the most premium materials in the luxury market did not come from the animals you expect, but from marine species almost no one ever imagines turning into high-end accessories? This single question is enough to open a door most people never knew existed. Behind every refined handbag, wallet, belt, or exclusive detail crafted from fish leather, there is a hidden universe of industrial precision, biological transformation, and centuries of forgotten techniques revived by modern engineering. And the deeper you look, the more you realize that what seems simple on the surface is driven by complex processes that begin long before the leather ever takes shape. Imagine holding a piece of fish leather in your hand. It feels stronger than traditional hides, unexpectedly flexible, and visually striking with patterns that reveal the natural architecture of marine life. But how does a raw skin taken from the ocean become something so refined that luxury brands fight to secure? Limited batches? The truth is that the journey starts the moment the skin leaves the fish. Every detail from that point on determines whether that material will become waste or transform into a premium accessory worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The first invisible step is understanding the value hidden in what many industries once discarded. While fishermen think of meat, tanneries think of structure. They see fiber alignment, collagen density, membrane integrity, and the potential for durability far beyond traditional expectations. This shift in perspective is the spark that sets the entire chain in motion, and once the process begins, nothing about it is random. Every action taken in the factory, every decision made by the workers, every controlled environment and mechanical adjustment builds toward the final result. You may have never asked how fish leather is born, but once you see the logic behind each step, it becomes impossible not to appreciate the craftsmanship involved. Have you ever handled a product without knowing the extraordinary path it traveled to reach your hands? What you will discover now may surprise you. If this already sparked your curiosity, tell me in the comments what part of this hidden world caught your attention first. Leave your like to help this investigation reach more people, and check if you are subscribed so you do not miss the next steps of this transformation. And as we move forward, the process becomes even more fascinating, revealing layers most people will never witness. The transformation truly begins long before the skins reach the factory floor. Everything depends on how these marine hides are collected, preserved, and evaluated in the very first hours after the fish is processed. In the world of luxury materials, quality is determined at the source, and with fish leather, this becomes even more critical because the fibers are thinner, the patterns are more delicate, and the material can degrade quickly if handled without precision. That is why specialized suppliers follow strict standards, selecting only skins that show strong structural integrity, minimal tears, and the natural patterns that will later define the identity of the final accessory. In coastal regions where this industry thrives, workers inspect each skin as soon as it is removed. They look for density, thickness, and the unique scale layout that varies dramatically between species. Salmon provides a smooth, uniform aesthetic. Tilapia reveals a bolder, geometric texture, and cod delivers a grain that is subtle yet remarkably strong. What most people see as simple fish remains. The industry sees as raw architecture waiting to be unlocked. But before anything can be crafted, the skins must be cooled or salted immediately to stop biological breakdown. Time is the enemy here. Every minute of delay weakens the collagen network that gives fish leather its surprising resistance. Once transported to the facility, the real evaluation begins. Technicians lay out the skins under controlled lighting, mapping imperfections, measuring dimensions, and determining which pieces qualify for premium treatment. Some skins will become high-end fashion elements, others will serve in smaller components where precision is equally important. Nothing escapes the trained eye of the inspector. Even slight variations in moisture content or membrane adhesion can dictate how the leather will behave in later stages of tanning and finishing. What makes this phase so captivating is the silent tension between nature and industry. The patterns formed in the ocean must now endure the scrutiny of luxury standards, and only a portion will advance. This selective process ensures that when the next stage begins, the material entering the factory is already aligned with the expectations of brands that demand perfection. And as these chosen skins move deeper into the facility, the transformation becomes increasingly intricate, preparing the ground for procedures that will fundamentally alter their structure while preserving the beauty nature designed. As the selected skins enter the preparation sector, The atmosphere shifts from the quiet precision of inspection to an environment that resembles a controlled laboratory. Here, every element is engineered to stabilize, strengthen, and purify the delicate marine fibers. The first step is rehydration, where the skins are immersed in large stainless steel drums filled with carefully balanced solutions. This process revives the material after transport, restoring flexibility without compromising the natural patterns that the industry works so hard to preserve. Once rehydrated, the skins move into a series of baths designed to strip away anything that could weaken the final leather. Enzymatic treatments gently dissolve residual tissue, while specialized agents separate the scales without damaging the underlying fiber network. Unlike traditional animal hides, which rely heavily on thick collagen layers, fish skin gains its strength from a tight cross-woven structure. Preserving this microarchitecture is essential, so the chemicals used must be both strong enough to purify the material and gentle enough to avoid destabilizing the fibers. Temperature, acidity, and exposure time are monitored constantly. A few minutes too long or a slight shift in pH can alter the texture, reduce elasticity, or create unwanted stiffness. Technicians observe the skins as they rotate within the drums, noting subtle changes in color and movement that indicate how each batch is responding. Even at this early stage, the material's future can be predicted. Skins that react evenly are likely to produce premium leather, while those showing structural inconsistencies may require adjustments later. After cleansing, the skins undergo deliming and neutralization, processes that rebalance chemical saturation and prepare the fibers for tanning. This phase is foundational because it determines how well the leather will absorb the agents responsible for durability and longevity. At this moment, the skins no longer resemble waste from a fishing boat. They begin to feel pliable, stronger, and unexpectedly refined. What emerges from these treatments is a material on the verge of transformation. Its natural patterns remain intact, but its internal composition has shifted, becoming more resilient and ready for the deep structural changes that the tanning stage will impose. And as these skins leave the laboratory environment and enter the heart of the facility, the next step reveals how industrial engineering brings them closer to becoming a true luxury material. As the treated skins enter the tanning sector, the transformation becomes far more dramatic. This is the moment when the material stops being a fragile marine byproduct and begins to acquire the durability, flexibility, and longevity that luxury manufacturers rely on. Fish leather is unique because its fiber alignment is naturally vertical rather than horizontal, creating an interlocking pattern that can surpass the strength of many traditional hides when handled correctly. Tanning is what unlocks this hidden potential, binding each microscopic strand into a stable structure capable of enduring tension, stretching, and years of use. Large rotating drums dominate the room, filled with tanning agents specifically adapted for marine fibers. These solutions penetrate deeply, reinforcing the ice collagen network without erasing the natural scale geometry that gives fish leather its distinct visual signature. Workers monitor the absorption curve, adjusting rotation speed and chemical concentration as the material evolves inside the drum. Every batch behaves a little differently, influenced by species, size, age, and even the conditions in which the fish lived. This variability requires both scientific accuracy and a type of intuitive craftsmanship developed only through experience. As the hours pass, the skins begin to darken or lighten depending on the formulation used. Chromium-based tanning creates a flexible, stable matrix, while vegetable tanning brings a firmer, organic character suited for artisanal work. Some factories combine methods in hybrid processes that enhance strength while preserving the naturally intricate grain. Throughout this stage, the tactile quality of the leather begins to emerge. When pulled from the drum, the skins no longer feel fragile. They hold, shape, resist tearing, and carry a subtle density previously absent. Even with these advancements, technicians continue testing the tensile strength, flexibility, and reaction to moisture. The objective is not just to create leather, but to produce a material capable of meeting the expectations of a global luxury market where imperfections are unacceptable. When the skins finally leave the tanning sector, they possess the foundation needed to survive the upcoming mechanical and aesthetics treatments that will elevate them to premium status. If you have ever imagined how something so delicate turns into a material used by high-end designers, share what surprised you the most in the comments. Your insight helps reveal how complex this hidden transformation truly is. As the treated skins enter the tanning sector, the transformation becomes far more dramatic. This is the moment when the material stops being a fragile marine byproduct and begins to acquire the durability, flexibility, and longevity that luxury manufacturers rely on. Fish leather is unique because its fiber alignment is naturally vertical rather than horizontal, creating an interlocking pattern that can surpass the strength of many traditional hides when handled correctly. Tanning is what unlocks this hidden potential, binding each microscopic strand into a stable structure capable of enduring tension, stretching, and years of use. Large rotating drums dominate the room, filled with tanning agents specifically adapted for marine fibers. These solutions penetrate deeply, reinforcing the collagen network without erasing the natural scale geometry that gives fish leather its distinct visual signature. Workers monitor the absorption curve, adjusting rotation speed and chemical concentration as the material evolves inside the drum. Every batch behaves a little differently, influenced by species, size, age, and even the conditions in which the fish lived. This variability requires both scientific accuracy and a type of intuitive craftsmanship developed only through experience. As the hours pass, the skins begin to darken or lighten depending on the formulation used. Chromium-based tanning creates a flexible, stable matrix, while vegetable tanning brings a firmer, organic character suited for artisanal work. Some factories combine methods in hybrid processes that enhance strength while preserving the naturally intricate grain. Throughout this stage, the tactile quality of the raw leather begins to emerge. When pulled from the drum, the skins no longer feel fragile. They hold shape, resist tearing, and carry a subtle density previously absent. Even with these advancements, technicians continue testing the tensile strength, flexibility, and reaction to moisture. The objective is not just to create leather, but to produce a material capable of meeting the expectations of a global luxury market where imperfections are unacceptable. When the skins finally leave the tanning sector, they possess the foundation needed to survive the upcoming mechanical and aesthetic treatments that will elevate them to premium status. If you have ever imagined how something so delicate turns into a material used by high-end designers, share what surprised you the most in the comments. Your insight helps reveal how complex this hidden transformation truly is. As the softened and shaped skins move into the finishing sector, the transformation shifts from structural to visual. This is where fish leather gains its identity as a luxury material, moving beyond raw durability and revealing the aesthetic qualities that captivate designers. The natural grain created by marine scale patterns becomes the foundation for a series of sophisticated treatments that enhance color, depth, and texture. In this part of the factory, science and artistry operate side by side, each influencing how the final product will be perceived in the world of high-end fashion. The first step involves carefully controlled pigmentation. Unlike traditional bovine leather, which often hides imperfections under thick layers of dye, fish leather is valued for its organic pattern. Technicians apply color in transparent or semi-transparent layers, allowing the natural geometry to remain visible. The skins are placed into specialized spray booths, where mists of dye settle evenly across the surface. The airflow, pressure, and spray angle are adjusted constantly to avoid blotches or uneven saturation. Every shade must enhance the natural grain rather than distort it. Once the base color sets, the skins undergo additional treatments to create depth. Metallic finishes, iridescent tones, or matte effects can be layered to produce unique aesthetic signatures. Some designs aim for subtle sophistication, while others embrace bold, luminous palettes inspired by marine environments. The finishing team evaluates each skin under shifting light sources, ensuring that the material maintains its appeal from every angle. This visual testing is critical, as the final product must impress under both natural and artificial lighting. Protective coatings follow, sealing the pigments and providing resistance to abrasion, moisture, and ultraviolet exposure. These coatings are thin enough to maintain flexibility, but strong enough to preserve the leather's appearance for years. Depending on the intended use, the surface may be smoothed, embossed, or left with a tactile texture that highlights the scales. At this stage, the leather begins to feel complete, yet its journey within the factory is not over. It still requires refinement and precision before it can meet the expectations of luxury brands. With color, sheen, and personality now integrated into each piece, the material moves closer to its final purpose. What happens next determines whether these skins will enter the world of designer accessories or be redirected to more functional markets. As the finished skins leave the coloration sector, they enter one of the most selective phases of the entire production chain: refinement for luxury brands. At this point, the leather is visually striking and structurally reliable, but it has not yet reached the level of uniformity and precision demanded by high-end designers. This is where meticulous inspection, calibration, and fine adjustments determine which pieces will earn a place in premium collections and which will be redirected to secondary markets. The standards are unforgiving, and even the smallest inconsistency can redefine a skin's destiny. Technicians begin by analyzing thickness, elasticity, and grain consistency. Each skin is measured with calibrated tools that detect variations invisible to the eye. Fish leather, with its naturally varied scale patterns, requires a nuanced evaluation. The grain must be expressive, but also balanced enough for designers who construct symmetrical accessories. Any excess rigidity or over-softening from prior stages must be corrected using targeted mechanical treatments. Precision rollers adjust the density of the material, smoothing tension points that could interfere with cutting or stitching later in the process. Once structural refinements are complete, the skins enter the aesthetic review. Under bright, diffused light, specialists assess the harmony of color, the uniformity of sheen, and the clarity of natural patterns. Even the angle at which the scales catch the light matters. Luxury. Brands expect materials that not only perform well but also photograph beautifully, withstand display lighting, and maintain visual coherence across multiple product batches. If a skin presents micro-irregularities, technicians retouch it with delicate manual applications of pigment or finishing agents, ensuring seamless integration into future collections. The final step is classification. Skins are graded into categories that determine their market destination. The highest grades are reserved for flagship items such as handbags, footwear, and statement accessories where visual impact is essential. Lower grades may be used for interior linings, small components, or experimental designs. This structured selection process ensures that designers receive material ready for precision craftsmanship, with minimal need for further correction. If discovering how these refinements shape the fate of each piece surprised you, share your thoughts in the comments. Your insight reveals how fascinating this journey from ocean to luxury truly is. As the graded skins transition into the precision engineering sector, the transformation becomes more technical and measured. This is the moment when fish leather stops being a raw material and begins to take on the contours of its future form. Every millimeter counts, and every decision made by the technicians determines whether the leather will perform flawlessly during production. The goal is to deliver pieces that designers can shape, stitch, and assemble without structural failure or aesthetic inconsistencies. To accomplish this, the factory relies on a combination of advanced machinery, skilled craftsmanship, and uncompromising quality standards. The first operation is cutting. Industrial blades, guided by digital mapping systems, trace patterns that maximize usable area while respecting the natural grain. Since fish leather carries a distinctive directional pattern, technicians must align the cuts carefully to ensure that scales run consistently across the final product. A misaligned cut can distort the visual flow, weakening both design symmetry and brand identity. Every cut is checked manually, confirming that the edges remain smooth and that the fiber matrix has not been stressed or fragmented. Molding follows, where the leather is shaped into preliminary forms using pressure and controlled humidity. This step tests the material's elasticity and memory. Fish leather behaves differently from bovine or goat. Hides. Its vertical fiber structure offers remarkable tensile strength, but requires careful manipulation to prevent irregular stretching. By applying measured force, technicians guide the leather into curves, folds, or flat surfaces that will later be refined by artisans. Each molded piece is evaluated for resilience, ensuring it returns to its intended form without warping. Quality control marks the final checkpoint before the leather leaves the factory. Inspectors examine every surface under calibrated lighting, searching for imperfections that may have emerged during cutting or molding. They test flexibility, compression resistance, and color stability, verifying that protective coatings remain intact. Even the scent of the material is evaluated, ensuring no chemical residues remain from earlier treatments. Only after passing a full series of mechanical and visual assessments does the leather qualify for packaging. By the time these skins are prepared for shipment, they have traveled through a chain of technical decisions, delicate manipulations, and scientific processes that few people ever witness. What arrives at the designer's atelier is not simply fish leather, but a meticulously engineered material built for performance, beauty, and longevity. Once the fish leather has passed its final mechanical and visual inspections, the material enters a stage that is less visible but equally essential: its controlled transition from the industrial world to the creative universe of luxury ateliers. This phase is where logistics, certification protocols, and market expectations converge, determining how each batch will be positioned in the global luxury ecosystem. The journey is no longer about transforming raw skins into leather, but about ensuring that the meticulously refined material reaches the right designers under the right conditions, ready to be turned into premium accessories. Packing begins with protective layering. Each skin is interleaved with pH-neutral sheets that prevent friction and preserve surface integrity. The bundles are then placed in climate-controlled containers designed to maintain the leather's optimal moisture balance during transport. Fish leather is stable, but high-end manufacturers avoid any variable that might alter texture, flexibility, or color saturation before it reaches the atelier. Even the orientation of the skins inside the boxes is deliberate, reinforcing the idea that luxury materials must be handled with the same precision that produced them. Before shipping, documentation is compiled. Certificates of origin, sustainability reports, tanning specifications, and chemical compliance forms accompany every shipment. Luxury brands demand traceability. They want to know where the fish came from, how the skin was treated, and which processes were used to ensure safety and environmental responsibility. For many companies, these certifications are not optional, but a prerequisite for maintaining their own reputations in the global market. As environmental awareness grows, fish leather often stands out because it repurposes a byproduct of the fishing industry, turning potential waste into high-value material. Once the shipments arrive at designer studios, the relationship between industry and artistry begins. Creative teams analyze grain patterns, thickness variations, and color nuances, selecting specific skins for specific purposes. A bold pattern may become the centerpiece of a handbag, while a smoother texture may be chosen for wallets or footwear. The designers evaluate how the material behaves when cut or folded, testing its response to stitching and bonding techniques. Although the leather has already been shaped and perfected, its final identity is defined here in the hands of artisans who understand how to amplify both its functional and aesthetic strengths. What emerges from this stage is the final bridge between engineered material and luxury creation, setting the stage for the leather's ultimate transformation. As fish leather reaches the ateliers and begins its final metamorphosis into refined accessories, a broader shift becomes visible across the luxury landscape. This material, once dismissed as mere waste, now influences how designers think about durability, sustainability, and artistic expression. Its vertical fiber structure offers strength that rivals traditional hides, while its natural patterns introduce visual uniqueness that cannot be replicated synthetically. In a market where exclusivity drives desire, fish leather stands out not only for its origin, but for the narrative embedded in every scale and contour. It represents a merging of engineering, environmental responsibility, and craftsmanship in a way that challenges long-standing assumptions about what luxury materials should be. Behind each finished piece lies an intricate chain of decisions, innovations, and refinements. Factories continuously optimize treatments to enhance performance, researchers explore new marine species with promising structural properties, and designers experiment with techniques that amplify the leather's distinctive geometry. This interplay of science and creativity shapes a future where high-end accessories are no longer defined solely by rarity, but by the story of transformation etched into the material itself. As more brands adopt these marine-derived leathers, their choices influence consumer expectations, encouraging a shift toward materials that balance aesthetics with responsible sourcing. The ripple effect extends even further. Communities involved in the fishing industry gain new economic opportunities, reducing waste and elevating byproducts into valuable commodities. Artisans gain access to a material that challenges traditional design boundaries, pushing them to create forms that complement the grain rather than hide it. And consumers, often unaware of the complexity behind these items, begin to appreciate the depth of craftsmanship involved when they discover the astonishing journey from ocean to atelier. if you have been with me through this entire exploration, it means this process spoke to you in some way. Feel free to leave a comment saying something like, "This message was for me," or "I am with you until the end," so I know you made it here. And if the value of this deep dive helped illuminate the hidden world behind luxury materials, consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like to support future investigations like this one. There is another video waiting right next to this one that continues expanding this universe, so click and keep exploring with me.